I was struggling with an eating disorder, I was always hyper-focused on what everyone else was eating just to make sure I had less. At the same time, watching others eat my fear foods felt euphoric and honestly made me feel a sense of superiority over them. Does this sound familiar? If you are currently struggling with comparison and want to learn how to stop comparing your eating and exercise behaviors to others, keep on listening because this episode is for you. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening, whether that be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, or any other podcast player. And I want to invite you to leave a 5-star rating, and if you feel so inclined, to also write a positive review for this podcast. Now that I've written a book and have decided to fully shift the focus of Live Label Free to bridging the gap between eating disorder recovery and neurodiversity, I want to bring on more experts, other authors, and other individuals that have lived experience with an eating disorder while unknowingly neurodivergent. The more ratings and reviews this podcast has, the easier it is for me to bring on amazing guests, which ultimately will make this podcast a better resource for you. So seriously, because I know your time is so valuable, I would so appreciate it if you could just take 2 minutes out of your day to rate and review the podcast. I read all of the reviews, and they are honestly one of the main reasons I keep showing up and keep pressing record. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart, and without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to Live Label Free, the podcast, where we talk about all things eating disorder recovery, autism, entrepreneurship, and so much more. I'm your host, Livia, and my mission is to inspire individuals from across the globe to live a life in which they feel fulfilled and free from limiting labels. I am so excited to have you here and cannot wait to dive into the episode. Comparison is actually one of the most common behaviors among individuals who struggle with an eating disorder. All of my clients tell me about how they so badly want to just eat what they want to eat, but that it's so difficult to eat more than their family members, friends, or whoever else they regularly spend time with. Not to mention, social media is unfortunately also a breeding ground for comparison. The whole popularity of what I eat in a day videos is so problematic as it sets the stage for comparing your intake to someone who's completely irrelevant to your life. Anyways, I'm not going to go off on too much of a rant about how problematic social media is in general, because that's not what we're here for. What you are here for is to learn how to stop comparing in recovery from an eating disorder. And as I mentioned before, you are in the right place, my friend. In this episode, I'll be sharing the science behind why you compare and how you can use this newfound knowledge to stop comparing. In order to understand what I'm about to share, it is critical you are familiar with the adapted to flee famine hypothesis. If you're thinking, WTF, Livia, what are you even talking about? I've never heard of this. Please press pause on this episode right now and go listen to my 7-part series on the adapted to flee famine hypothesis. Once you've done that, welcome back. So, as you learned in the Adapted to Flee Famine Hypothesis series, anorexia can be seen as an evolutionary survival mechanism to food scarcity. Thousands of years ago, when us humans were still hunter-gatherers, we relied on our direct environment for fuel. If resources were scarce, our ancestors would have probably done better by hunting and gathering somewhere else. To migrate efficiently, individuals' bodies would have to turn off the usual adaptations to starvation, such as extreme fatigue and painful hunger pangs. The ability to stop foraging locally and ignore food, to feel restless and energetic, and to deny one's dangerously thin appearance are proposed by the adapted to flee famine hypothesis, the AFFH in short, to be adaptive mechanisms that would have facilitated migration to abundant lands and in turn maximize the chances of survival. The reason the adapted to flee famine hypothesis is so relevant here is because it also explains the biological reason for why you compare. Humor me and take a moment to just picture yourself thousands of years ago in a tribe of hunter-gatherers. Resources have become scarce, and you now have two options. Number one, wait around for food to come falling out of the sky, which most likely won't happen. Or option two, take action and migrate to the abundant lands. If you are the least bit sane, you'll choose option B. So you and your tribe are all walking in the direction of the abundant lands, trying to get there as fast as possible, because if you don't get food soon, you'll die. So you become super energized and active, and your physical hunger cues will most likely turn off because you don't have time to get distracted by those. Eyes need to stay on the prize, the feast in the abundant lands. So while you are trekking towards the land of abundance, you pass some berry bushes and some of your tribe members stop to eat. But a few berries are far from enough to keep anyone alive, and you know that. You have to keep on moving if you want to maximize your chances of survival, meaning the individuals that stop to eat along the way will most likely get left behind. From a biological point of view, you are in a competition with your tribe members in who can get to the abundant lands first, which is why it does feel so rewarding when you see others eat more than you. Like I mentioned at the top of this episode, it almost felt euphoric to see others eating high-calorie foods. What's more is that researchers have found increased levels of corticosterone in the brain of active anorexia sufferers, which stimulates feelings of euphoria and hyperactivity. Now, before you think, we are thousands of years further, I'm no longer a hunter-gatherer, this all what you're saying, Livia, this can't apply to me. Remember that your body's survival mechanisms are regulated by your brainstem, a part of the brain whose job is not to think. So when you are in energy deficit and your life is being ruled by your survival brain, all your body is doing is responding to food scarcity. Yes, it may seem manipulative and cruel to feel superior to others eating more than you, but you as a being, you as a person, your real, true, authentic you is not manipulative and is not cruel. Your body is simply behaving in a way that it believes will help you survive. Alrighty, if you follow me on Instagram over at LiveLabelFree or have listened to previous episodes of this podcast, chances are you've seen or heard me share about newzest Clean Lean Protein before, because it is one of those items I literally cannot go a day without. Now, before you clock out or skip this part of the episode, hold up, because you are not going to want to miss what I'm about to share with you. Because I know your time is so valuable, I'm going to cut right to the chase and spill the beans, or should I say peas, because newzest protein is made from pea protein, and share that newzest is currently having one of their biggest sales ever, with discounts ranging from 63% off to a whopping 75% off. So why do I take newzest Clean Lean Protein every day? First of all, it adds the best flavor to anything you're adding it to, whether that be oatmeal, a smoothie bowl, or just want to amp up the nutrition profile of baked goods. Mug cakes are one of my personal favorites. It's also amazing on its own, mixed with your milk of choice, and it's one of the only protein powders I found, and trust me, I've tried basically every protein powder there is out there. It's the only protein I found that mixes easily without being chalky or gritty like so many plant-based protein powders out there nowadays. And it also cooks really easily, so when it comes to like oatmeal, it doesn't coagulate or get all chunky because pea protein is so heat stable. So newzest Clean Lean Protein is also made with minimal ingredients and is free of common allergens like gluten, soy, and dairy, and it also contains 0 artificial flavors, sweeteners, or additives. This makes it super easy to digest, and the probiotic support flavors even have added probiotics to help heal those very finicky digestive issues. Now listen closely, because here's the most important announcement regarding newzest's current sale. It's for a limited time only and ends November 10th, 2022, so be sure to hurry up and stock up while you can still get discounts of up to 75% off. Simply head over to livelabelfree.com/newzest and all the deals are lined up for you on that page. If you are listening to this episode after the fact, the sale will unfortunately be over, but do not fret, my friend. You can still get up to 25% off all newzest products with my code LIVEFREE25, which is still a huge discount. Again, simply head over to livelabelfree.com/newzest to select your products and then use my code LIVEFREE25, so that's spelled LIVFREE25 at checkout to get 25% off. Now, let's get back to today's episode. Okay, so now that we know the science behind why you compare, the next question is, how do we get out of the comparison trap? Well, we've established that comparison is the result of your body believing you're in a famine, which is the result of being in energy deficit. So, you guessed it. The first step to stop comparing is to get out of energy deficit. How? Well, I'm sure you already know the answer, but in case you need to hear it again, you need to eat food, and a lot of it. Although you may wish there was some shortcut to recovery, some way to achieve a life of freedom without putting in the work, facing your fears around eating and resting is the only way to prove to your body that you are in fact not in a famine environment and that resources already are abundant. Of course, eating more, especially eating more than others, is a lot easier said than done. But the only way to overcome your fears is by facing them head on. We often think we need to first change our thoughts before we can change our behaviors, but the opposite is true. Your brain learns from your actions, meaning that if you want to change your thoughts, you need to change your actions first. The only way for your brain to learn that it's okay to eat more than others is to provide your brain with proof that you can eat more than others and be okay. The only way for your brain to learn that a recovered life is possible is to behave as a recovered person would. Nothing will change if you don't change. And before I wrap this up, I do want to note that when you do commit to full recovery and give yourself permission to stop comparing, it is completely normal that you will experience extreme hunger. Not just in the physical sense, but mentally as well. All of this hunger must be honored in order to prove abundance to your body, as the very fact that you do feel increased hunger shows that your body is starting to trust that resources are not really scarce. Now, it's up to you to support your body in its healing process. If you would like even more support, I want to invite you to enroll in my course, Extremely Hungry to Completely Satisfied. Whether you want to learn how to get rid of mental hunger, heal your digestive issues, accept weight gain, let go of food guilt, or all of that and more, my course, Extremely Hungry to Completely Satisfied, is the all-in-one resource I wish I had during one of the scariest periods of my life. Full of video presentations, lessons, and worksheets, my course combines scientific research with years of personal experience to yield a step-by-step framework that provides you with tangible action steps. People who have worked through the course have regained their periods, let go of food guilt, and completely shifted their mindset to come from a place of fear and scarcity to a newfound love for life, all in just 8 weeks. The best part is, I am so confident that this course is exactly what you need to achieve a life of freedom that I offer a 100% satisfaction, risk-free guarantee, meaning if you go through the course, put in the work, and don't get any results, I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. So truly, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Enroll in my Extreme Hunger course today by clicking the link in the description below or visiting the link livelabelfree.com/extreme-hunger-course. That's livelabelfree, like the name of this podcast, .com/extreme-hunger-course. I am beyond excited for you to let go of a life that revolves around food and instead gain a life that revolves around your life. After all, you've only got one. And with that said, I hope to see you in my course, and if not there, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.